So you guys probably don't know this, but for the longest time, I've been using Apple computers to basically edit my videos and do everything in my workflow. But I want to check out a PC once again. So I picked up this one from Best Buy, and it's called the iBUYPOWER Slate Mesh Gaming PC. And just so you know, we'll get to all the specs, but I just wanted to get out of the box so we can take a closer look at it. Because the last time I saw this was a couple of months ago, and it's been sitting in storage. And I think it's going to be a great computer to start showcasing some basic gaming on some of the televisions that we review on this channel. Now I know there's a lot more powerful computers on the market that'll pretty much destroy this one, but the fact that I'm just learning how to use computers again as far as the PCs, I think this is a good starting point. And I made sure that it has some good specs on it, and we'll talk about that later on in the video. Now it's time for the big reveal. Oh! Now this one does have plenty of protection in here, so let's go and get all that out of here so we can basically take a look at the motherboard and everything that's inside. Now some people have seen this where there's no screws on here to remove the back cover, but basically there's these little clamps here on the glass that holds it into place, and all we need to do is just pull it like that. And then the glass comes right out. And from there, just pull out this packing material, and then we have inside of the computer, and it looks pretty nice overall. And then we can pull this other side off so we can take a look at the inside of the computer. Now, if you take a look at the back of it, you can see the wiring is pretty simple. But I want to point out it does have a caddy for 2 SSD drives, because I always wonder if they went on the bottom over here on the side. Again, I haven't used PCs in a long time. Now down here, you have cables for power as well as data. And then you have slots so you can add 2 SSD drives. And the way you would do is just go ahead and slide them into these little slots right here, and then run your power in there, and that's how you add extra storage. Now as we turn it around, we can take a look at the CPU and the GPU. This one is powered by Intel and not AMD. And as far as the processor, this is a Intel Core i7. It's a 14700F, and it has a nice little cooling fan on here and a fan here on the side. And this is a 20-core processor that runs at 5.4 gigahertz. It also has an L cache of 33 hertz and a base power of 65 watts that maxes out with turbo at 219 watts. Now when it comes to memory, I want to get a little bit more. So it has 2 16 gigabyte cards, which is DDR5, and these are running at 5200 megabytes. So they should be pretty fast for my application. And they're called the T-Force Delta. The configuration is 2 16 gigabyte cards, and they do have RGB lights on them to give it that special effect. Now of course there's faster video cards on there, but I want to save a little bit of money when I got this one. So it uses the GeForce RTX 5060, and it has 8 gigabytes of internal memory. And this GPU does support CUDA cores with 3840. It has a clock speed of 2280 megahertz, and it supports 4K up to 180 hertz and 8K up to 165 hertz with DSC. And for storage, I went with a 1 terabyte NVMe solid state drive, as you can see right there on the motherboard. And this drive is made by AGI Gear. It uses a form factor of the PCIe Gen 4x4. The interface is a M.2 2800, and it has a maximum read speed of 5200 megabytes per second and a write speed of 4700 megabytes per second. On the back of it, this computer has 4 USBs, and I'll explain these red ones in just a minute. A 1 gigabyte Ethernet, USB-C. There's also a receiver in here for Wi-Fi. You're going to have a fiber optic output, and you have some jacks right here for your audio for stereo outputs. This RTX 560 has 1 HDMI 2.1 output and 3 1.4 display ports. And last time I mentioned is why the red USB is important is because this new red one can support up to 10 gigabits per second. And for quick access, on the top we have a power button, 2 more USB 2.0s, headphone, microphone, and another USB-C connection on top. Now let's put everything together so we can test out this bad boy, see how well it performs. Let's go ahead and put on the side pieces, and there we go. Now it does come with this gaming mouse right here. It's pretty basic, but it does have a scroll wheel here on the top of it. There's a press button, and there's 2 keys on the bottom. Now I'm not sure about the PPI on it, but it is wired, and that's basically what it looks like. And it has the logo to match the computer. And it also comes with this wired keyboard. And the great thing about this keyboard, it's actually pretty quiet, so you can get through all your steps. Now, I haven't figured out a way to change the colors on it, but at least it has that nice red look to it. And this is ideal if you're gaming with all the lights off. You can see the keys are very bright and detailed, so you can make out all the different functionalities that you want to do when you're doing your gaming. And it does come with this Wi-Fi antenna, so you can get high speeds even if you're using your Wi-Fi connection. I'm pairing this computer with an MSI MPG 321UR QD. It supports up to 144 Hz. It has 1 milliseconds of input lag, up to 600 nits of peak brightness, and it is G-Sync compatible. On the back of it has LEDs, and it does have the famous MSI logo in the corner. When pressing this button on the back of it, you get this more advanced menu system. Over here you can see that it is 4K at 144 Hz, HDR is turned on, and then you can go down these different settings, and this is including seeing premium colors, your frames, response time. You have a professional mode, so it is pre-calibrated, as you can see right there. And then you have image, your input source, and a few other keys here at the bottom. And that's including the RGB lights and things like that. Now, when it comes to the screen, you don't have a lot of options as far as the built-in mounting bracket. Like, you can't turn the screen to make it vertical, but you can lower it and you can raise it up. And if you need to, you can pivot it back and forth so you can find the best viewing angle. Now, this monitor does have a built-in power supply, so you don't have to have that power brick over the side, and it does have multiple inputs. A few things I want to point out is that you can use KVM. Now, HDMI 1 over here does support CEC, and it is HDMI 2.1 as well as this one, but it doesn't support CEC. It also has a 1.4 DisplayPort input plus a USB-C connection. And if you are going to connect the KVM, you do have 4 USB 2.0s right here, plus you have a headphone output that you can use for external speakers. Now let's pull up some software so we can see how well this computer actually performs. I'm using Geekbench to test this computer, and the single core was 2866 and the multi-core was 17973. And I also want to point out that the OpenCL score was 123,925. I also want to check out Cinebench, and this is the single core processing. And as you can see right here, it is beating the Apple M1, but there's faster processors on the market. It's also beating the AMD 758 8-core, as well as a few other processors, but I don't see any of the newer processors here on this list. And when we switch over to multi-core, you can see that it's ranking here kind of like in the 4th place, and there's a couple of processors like the Apple M1 Ultra that's beating it out, as well as the Intel Xenon W3265. Intel does have this particular processor that you can use for overclocking the computer, and it's called Extreme Tuning Utility, or ETU. And it breaks down all the cores, the RAM capabilities, and down here you can see that it's showing the temperature of the CPU. If you go over here to advanced tuning, this is where you can do all your overclocking, but we're not going to do that on this video. Now there's also the stress test, and as you can see here, it did pass it. And these are the different graphs when it did its test. And overall, this computer actually performs very well. If we look at the benchmarking, we're getting a score of 8260, and you can compare online, but when you click on this, you will have to sign into account. The NVMe drive in here is pretty decent when it comes to speeds, but it's not as fast as I thought it was. I mean, right now we're getting about 4798, and the write speed is 2912, so that could affect it whenever it's playing gaming, but for my purposes, it should do just fine. Now, before I end this video, I just want you to know there's plenty of testing that you can do on computers, but I want to keep this short because this is not going to turn into a computer channel. The reason I want to make this video is because we're in transition with new televisions. In addition to that, I want to bring on the PC so I can start doing some testing for 144 Hz on some of the newer televisions, and I haven't been able to do that with the Xbox and PS5. So if you guys have any games you could recommend that's fairly easy for a new user, please leave that down in the comments below. Now, as far as this system, if you decided you want to pick up one, it's no problem if you don't. This computer sells for around $1,299 at retail price, and this monitor sells for around $750 if you are interested in this stuff. But I'll leave all those links in the description below because a lot of people might want to start off with a computer like this just to get into the game. with that being said, behind the camera, I do have the new TCL X11L, and if you guys have questions about that TV, let me know, because I'm going to wait till I move into the new office before I start filming TVs again on that level. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I really appreciate your support. Just hang in there with me just for a few more weeks, and as soon as we get moved over, you're going to see something that you haven't seen before on this channel. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.